Let me paint a picture in your mind real quick. You pick up a game. It could be one that just released or one that has been sitting in your backlog for months now, but nevertheless you sit on your sofa and start playing it. You get introduced to the character you will embody for the duration of the story, the characters you will spend time with throughout the experience, the world you will explore, and the story and conflict surrounding it. You begin to grasp the mechanics, the combat is fun and entertaining, the characters begin to grow on you, and you start thinking about them outside of the game. You get swept up in this world and the story, you jam out to the music because it's a vibe, and over time you start looking at the clock, waiting for the time where you can get off work and or school to go home and spend time with these characters, and after a number of days, weeks, or months, you stop. You put the game away, and instead of returning to it the next day, it sits on the shelf. It's not done, you haven't finished the game, but you just don't get back to it. And so it sits there and stays there for days, weeks, months, years. Okay, so if you're anything like me, this has happened to you on a number of occasions. You start a game, you have fun with the game, you drop the game, either in favor of another one or one you already play. And that's okay. For some of us, when we drop a game, we are satisfied with our experience, even if we didn't finish it and get the whole experience. Some of us are at peace with that, and then for some of us, it annoys us beyond belief. Here's the deal, right? I think when we were all young, we had a very limited selection of games to play and an endless amount of time on our hands, the only thing holding us back being an 8 o'clock bedtime and a 6 o'clock educational story. And so we had the time to beat those games, sometimes multiple times over. However, the older you get, the more responsibilities come with age. School gets more time consuming, you begin to work a part-time job, you graduate, you work a full-time job while desperately trying to pay back student loan. While the free time on our hands gets less common, money also gets more common for us, even though sometimes we have to not eat for a week to keep it. And so I would bet a solid portion of us spend that spare money on games, whether that be on sale or full price on release. And so now we have a larger catalog of games to pick and play, and of course we subconsciously understand that we won't have the time or sometimes the patience to finish all the games we play. So why does it irritate us so badly? Why does it feel like I'm missing out on something if I drop a game? Is it because I know there's the possibility of something I'll love that I won't experience? Or is it the belief that you haven't really played a game without seeing all of it to the end? For many people, they feel they haven't truly played a game without finishing it, and today, if possible, I want to try and maybe relate to you all, because I too die a little inside every time I look at my Steam library. And so today I want to try to talk about why that feeling of missing out on something happens to us, and how we can take comfort in not finishing something. Okay, so y'all like movies, right? One day you sit on your couch and scroll through whatever streaming service you have and you find a movie that catches your eye, and optimistically you start to watch it. However, throughout the experience you grow tired. Maybe the dialogue and narrative is poorly written, maybe the characters just seem lackluster, or maybe it's just not for you. And so after around an hour you turn the TV off and head to bed. So, did you really watch the movie? You didn't see how it ended. You never got to see if there was this huge plot twist that made everything else before make more sense. You never got to watch the whole experience. And so if you never finished it, can you really say you watched the movie? Because saying that almost implies that you finished it. That is one thing people will tell themselves. If I didn't see everything, did I really experience it to begin with? And while that sounds dumb, it kinda makes sense. Without the full context of the story and moments contained in that disc, you have a limited idea of what that game is. And this is an argument used a lot in story-based titles. Without context for the things seen before, that's all they are. Things. If you dropped Omori 4 hours in and never returned back to it, you would lack the explanation for the surrealistic dreams and nightmares you experience. And I think some of us feel this way. Without finishing a game, have I really experienced it at all? And if that's the case, then I myself haven't played a lot of games I've claimed to have played, not just on this channel, but in real life. I haven't played Hades, I haven't played Eastward, I haven't played Ghost Runner, I haven't played Dark Souls. And when it's said like that, the argument falls apart, right? I have played these games. I spent a significant amount of time on each. Except for maybe Ghost Runner, because it kind of got repetitive. And while I don't think any of these games need to be finished to understand the true nature of them, I don't truly know that. Each of these games could have something I love in them, but I won't realize it unless I go back and finish them. However, one game that makes me feel conflicted about saying all of this is Nier Automata. Nier Automata is weird. It's a game that I played, and while I enjoyed my time with it and thought it was a great experience, I didn't really realize how incredible of a game it was until I finished it. However, by saying I finished it, there could be multiple conclusions made from just saying that. If you haven't played, you should know that to truly experience Nier Automata as a whole, you have to play through the game multiple times, and while that sounds repetitive, it's nowhere near as mundane as it sounds. The first playthrough of Nier Automata will take you around 7 to 10 hours to complete depending on the pace you play through it, and on surface level, it's a solid 7 out of 10 game. It's explosive, it's fun, and the characters are lovable, but besides that, it's a generic plot about fighting evil robots with many loose ends that never really get resolved. And one could walk away from Nier Automata having only played the first playthrough heavily disappointed, especially since they were probably aware of the large number of people calling it a masterpiece. However, there is a small message from the developers telling you that there is more content in the game and new perspectives to see. However, if I didn't know beforehand that the real meat of the game lies beyond that first playthrough, this simple message probably wouldn't have been a reason enough for me to return. However, the reason why I feel conflicted is because without playing past the first playthrough of Nier Automata, you really didn't get to see what made it special to begin with. The fact is, without playing the following playthroughs of Automata, you have missed out on about 2/3 of the game, and in those playthroughs, not only do those loose ends and unanswered questions get answered, but it also makes the story of the first playthrough in hindsight look so much more grand and beautiful than you would have realized by just playing through it once. And while I won't jump the gun and say if you've only played it once you haven't played it, I will say that without the context of the following playthroughs and endings, you haven't really seen what makes this game special. However, that makes me sound a little hypocritical as well, cause I was just saying that if you walk away from a game, it's okay to do so, and while that remains true to Nier Automata, I think there's a sense of disconnect between the people who have played through the game multiple times and seen the true ending, and the people who have only played it once. Cause each party will walk away from the game with an almost entirely different perspective of the same experience. Yokotaro, you knew this was going to happen, didn't you? You evil, conniving, wholesome little man. However, this could go for any game. How do I know that I'm not missing out on something big? How do I know that I'm not going to feel regret about walking away from the unfinished game? Well, friendly strangers on the internet, I struggled with the same thing, and I think I realized something earlier this year, and it's made the walk away from certain games feel so much more satisfying. One day, after being slightly brainwashed into it, I decided to make a list of all the games I wanted to play, as well as all the anime I wanted to watch. And after listing all of my games on the list that I already owned with the mindset that I was going to finish everything, I opened Steam and saw that there were many games I never finished, but instead of hoping to hop back in, I didn't feel that drive anymore. I had a ton of fun with them, but I just didn't feel the need to come back. And the thing I think people need to realize is that it's not just okay if you don't finish a game, but it's human. You had your fun with it, and eventually you put it down. If you forced yourself to pick it up, it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience. It would feel more like a chore. If you dropped it, you were either immensely disappointed or you were satisfied with the experience you had. It's just that small part of your brain telling you it's not okay that's making you feel regretful. And when I acknowledge that I had my fun with Hades, with Eastward, with Dark Souls, even though I plan on casually playing that last one throughout the years, that's what made the walk away and the experience I had with them feel more complete. The story of Hades ended with me reaching the surface, Eastward ended with the characters freeing themselves and exploring a new world, and Dark Souls ended with me... Yeah, no, we can leave it at that. And while none of these are the true final endings, they are for me, or at least for now. Another thing to keep in mind is that you may not be completely done with it forever. Maybe one day you'll feel the need to come back to it and have fun with the game you dropped all those years ago and possibly even finish it. But even if that never happens, rather than feel regret for the things you didn't do, be satisfied you got to experience the things you did. In life, you're not going to be able to experience everything. You won't be able to see everything the world has to offer. You won't be able to meet someone that could be one of the people you keep by your side in times of hardship and growth. That's life, and while that sounds depressing to know you won't be able to do all of that, I think us as people can take comfort in that. I won't be able to experience everything, but that's okay because it makes the things I do experience worth it. And I think if you walk away from a game with that mindset, it will not just be easier to do, but more satisfying because of it. So play the games you want to play. Don't feel an obligation to finish them. Form your own journeys. Make your own ending point canon. View some memes. Start conversations with people. Take things at your own pace. Laugh a little. Experience life as much as you can, because after all, a future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself. Hello there, friendly strangers on the internet. Thank you so much for watching. It was nice making something that 1, was not all that emotionally destroying, and 2, not 30 minutes or longer. I wanted to pace myself with this one and give myself a little bit of a break after that last one. I finished Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood in my free time and I adored it. It's everything everyone says it is. I've also been playing way too much Tears of the Kingdom as everyone else has, so as you can imagine, I was not wanting to edit this video at all ever since its release. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourself, take care of others, and I'll see you next time.